We're thankful to God yet once again for another opportunity to come together. For those who like precious faith, especially on this first day of the week, we're thankful to God for your presence. We're thankful to God for this opportunity to come together to study His Word, and we may continue to grow thereby. We give Him all the honor, the glory, and the praise that is rightfully due to His holy and righteous name. Also this morning, if you are visiting Easthaven for the first time, we want you to know that we appreciate you being here with us. We thank you for being here with us. We thank you for counting us of such estate that you thought it was a wonderful thing to come join us on today. And so we're thankful for your presence. And please stick around after we conclude our worship so we can get this opportunity to know you. And we're just thankful for you on today. A couple of weeks ago, we started looking at this idea from 1 Samuel 24, verses 7 through 9, where David was begging with Saul after Saul tried on so many occasions to try to kill David. And David had the opportunity to slay Saul. 1 Samuel 24, verses 7 through 9, those passages of scripture show David having cut off a piece of Saul's robe. And when Saul wakes up out of the cave, and he comes out of the cave, and David is standing behind him, or he's crouched behind him, begging Saul not to listen to other men's words, saying, "Why hearest thou man's words, saying David is trying to kill you?" And so from that vantage point, we've been looking at a series on you are listening to the wrong people.
All right.
So we realized Saul listened to the wrong people and almost got him killed. But then we also looked at the fact people can listen to the wrong people in religion. You can listen to the wrong people in terms of your relationships. And on this morning, we'll look at our final installment as it relates to real life circumstances. You're going to live in a world where you're going to be faced and you're going to be fraught with challenges every day. You're going to need to learn how to live in such a way as to honor and glorify God. But in so doing, you cannot afford bad advice. I want you to think about this. These are some of the things that we are faced with on a daily basis. We are faced with end-of-life decisions. You know, a lot of times people don't like to talk about end-of-life decisions. As a matter of fact, one of the things that plagues the black community, that's us, is the fact that we don't even like to talk about death. Well, if you don't like to talk about it, how are you going to prepare for it? But you got to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. It's a real situation. It's a real life dilemma. You have to talk about end of life from a spiritual standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a medical standpoint. That's why the Bible says in Isaiah 38, God told Hezekiah, you better get your house in order.
Yeah.
Why? Because end of life will come. And you need to make sure all your affairs are in order. So we have to talk about end of life decisions. Have you had that talk with your family? They don't need to wait until you die. And your children, we don't get along right now, they'll have left to have to distribute and divide whatever little stuff you got left when you're dead and gone. You got to set your house in order. So we have to deal with end of life decisions. Somebody say, well, how do I fix my credit? My finance? We live in a world where we need money and we need credit. You need those two things to live in the world. How do you prepare for those things? Young people need to understand right now.
Yes, sir.
You need to make sure you got your credit in order, your finances straight, you know how to save, you know what a bank account is, you know the difference between checking and saving. You need to learn that right now. Don't get married and talk about, well, ain't nobody ever taught me. Well, you're going to drag somebody into a marriage and you don't even know how a bank account works. You don't even know how to pay bills. And so you need to learn these things now. This is real life. Not only that, sometimes we start thinking about life and we start thinking about how we ought to deal one with another. Sometimes people say, well, you know what? My marriage is failing. We have situations where people have marriage problems, severe marriage problems. And I understand right now, everything ain't what it seems from the outside. Yes. We can look good on Sunday and Wednesday and in public, but you know behind closed doors whether or not your marriage is working or it's crumbling. Amen. It's a real life scenario. Not only that, sometimes you get that phone call. Yeah. The doctor called. We're going to need you to come back in. This is not feeling too good. You know that test you took last week? It's not looking too good. You're going to have to come back in for another test. That's a real life scenario. I'm struggling to be faithful. I don't understand the Bible. These are real life circumstances for Christians. So when you start looking at these and many other real life scenarios, What you cannot afford to have is somebody yapping in your ear, giving you the wrong advice, giving you bad advice, and just messing the thing up altogether. Amen. Once you find out that happens, notice this. You can't afford bad advice. Think about bad advice costs too much. It's expensive. Bad advice will cost you. It will cost you your job. It will cost you your marriage. It will cost you your relationship with your family and with others. It will cost you your relationship with God. Bad advice will cost you your soul. If you don't believe me, go back and read 1 Kings 13 sometimes. Where the unnamed prophet listened to the older prophet who deceived him, and the next thing you know, he got killed by a lion. Bad advice will hurt you. We can't afford it. In our text, 1 Kings chapter 12, Jeroboam is a great example of one who needed bad advice. If you ever wanted to look and study the life of somebody who just totally messed it up and got it wrong due to bad advice, you study a man by the name of Jeroboam. When you go back through the annals of history and look at all of our sovereign rulers, we look at all of our world leaders, we start thinking about those leaders in Germany back in the 20s and the 30s. When you go back and look at all of these bad dictators and bad leaders, Jeroboam at the top of the list. Why is he at the top of the list? Let's find out. When you go back and look at 1 Kings chapter 12, the Bible says in verse number 25, then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim. Dwelt therein and went out from thence, and he built Peniel. Notice what he says. Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. Right. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord. Even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. Right. What Jeroboam is saying. These people got to go back to Jerusalem at least 3 times out of the year. The Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Passover, and also the various pilgrimage feasts in the Old Testament. So Jeroboam is saying, whenever they go back to Jerusalem, they got to go back and they got to go see Rehoboam, that's Solomon's son. And so if they go back to Jerusalem, they're going to leave from following me and they're going to go back to Rehoboam. So what Jeroboam begins to do, he starts setting in motion plans and ways as to keep the people close to him. Now he's the leader. The only problem that means for you and I is, since we don't know all of the background yet, Jeroboam didn't have to do this. He didn't have to set up a golden calf in Dan and a golden calf in Bethel. He didn't have to do that. Let's go back, if you will. Let's go back and look at 1 Kings chapter 11. To give you a little idea of background while we're reading about Jeroboam. Remember, Saul, David, and Solomon all reigned for 40 years of peace. That was known as the United Kingdom or the United Monarchy. Those 3 men each reigned for 40 years of peace, a period of 120 years. But because of Solomon and his love for many women, you know Solomon wanted to be a playboy before he left them. And so because of that, God tells Solomon, I'm going to take the kingdom away from you. 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse number 1, the Bible says, but. Now anybody who knows, you don't start a sentence with but. 1 Kings 11 verse number 1, the Bible says, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh. The but in 1 Kings chapter 11 is set in contrast to 1 Kings chapter 10. When you read 1 Kings chapter 10, because of the amount of money that God blessed Solomon to have and the wisdom that God gave Solomon directly, when we read 1 Kings chapter 11, we're reading a different picture of Solomon. Here is a man, listen to me carefully, when you go back to 1 Kings chapter 3, God gave Solomon wisdom directly. He prayed for it, God gave it to him. And what he did with that wisdom and that wealth that God gave him, he built the temple and he built his house. As a matter of fact, it took Solomon 7 years to build a temple. Took him another 20-some years to build his house. 13 years to build his house.
All right.
So for 20 years, all Solomon was doing was building the temple and building his house. You know why? Because he was wise and he was wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we look today and we looking at the richest man in the world right now is the CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, worth about $135 billion. Do you not realize Solomon was worth that now, back then?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Solomon he was a billionaire back then.
Right.
Solomon had money and plenty of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you read 1 Kings chapter 11, you're reading about a wealthy man, a wise man, and a powerful man. Thus 1 Kings 11:1 was Solomon. Loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Zidonians, and the Hittites. And then the Bible says, the women concerning which God had told them, you should go into them, neither shall they come into you. Why? They will turn your heart away from God. Amen. But Solomon clave unto these women in love. Solomon was dangerously in love with these women.
Yeah.
But I want you to know the verse number 3. The Bible says concerning Solomon, 1 Kings 11:3. He had 700 wives, princesses, 300 concubines. That's a bad boy. And this is before the days of Pfizer. You don't know what that means? You go home and check that out. For it came to pass. I want you to notice this. It's a great lesson. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart from God. Let me ask you a question. Does anybody in this room think they know more than God? We just had our Sunday school review. Everybody got a chance to showcase their knowledge, what they learned over the quarter. Anybody in this room think they know more than God? Isn't that what verse 2 says? God told them, don't y'all go into these strange women. Don't let these women marry your sons. Don't let your sons marry their daughters. Why? They will surely turn your heart away from God. That's what they did to Solomon. Now, if they did it to Solomon, what chance do you think you're going to have? Amen. People talk all the time, well, you know what, I'm dating my boyfriend. He outside the church. I'm dating my girlfriend. And we're going to get engaged, and they outside the church. Do you not realize the success rate for dating and marrying people outside the church? Amen. 22%. That when you marry outside of Christ, that the success rate for that thing lasting 10 years or more is 22%. God already knew that. That's why he says, don't get tangled up with them. But another thing in verse number 4 that you need to pay attention to, you know, a lot of times, let me think about this. A lot of times we make a lot of mistakes in our youth. Solomon, the old man, still making these mistakes. 1 Kings chapter 11, when Solomon was old, that lets me know old people can do some things too. Amen. A lot of times we give young people a raw deal, but Solomon making these mistakes while he's an old man. You would have thought that when he was a younger man, he would have got all that stuff out of his system. But now he's making these same mistakes as an older man, and the Bible says they turned his heart away from God. So when Solomon was old, you know, you think when you're older, you're supposed to be that much more wise. You have gained that much more experience. You've learned a little bit more. You know a little bit more. You've been around the block, as we say. But Solomon's still making these mistakes. Why? Because while he was old, he still loved these strange women. The reason why we're looking at Solomon is the reason why God divided the kingdom. So in 1 Kings chapter 11, Brother Hampton, look at verse number 11. This is the reason why Jeroboam comes on the scene, because of what Solomon did. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse number 11, how does that read?
Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee. Because you have took these strange women, these thousands of women, and you've married them, you've been playing with them. God said, because you did this, what? And thou hast not kept my covenant, my statutes, which I have commanded thee. I will surely rent the kingdom from thee, and I will give it to thy servant.
God says, I'm going to take the kingdom away from you. Do you know how bad that must have been For God to bless Solomon with wisdom, for him to give him all the money of the world, for him to allow Solomon to ascend the throne behind his father David. You go back and look at David's life. David could have gave the kingdom to any one of his sons. He had more sons than Solomon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But he chose Solomon. And so in choosing Solomon, God blessed Solomon with all these things that we're reading about, and then he's going to take God's blessing and use it for his own personal gain. God says, I got to punish you now. I'm going to rend the kingdom away from you. I'm going to give it to your servant. Well, who's the servant? 1 Kings chapter 11, verse number 26. What does it say?
And Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Don't you ever forget that name. What else does it say?
And Ephraim, Azerah, Solomon's servant.
Did God say he was going to give it to a servant? He is Jeroboam the son of Nebat and the sons of Zeruiah, the servant of Solomon. What does he say?
Whose mother's name was Zerah, a widow woman, even alive, and lifted up his hand against the king. And this was this cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David, his father. You see, Jeroboam was an industrious man. What Solomon did while he was king, Solomon entrusted Jeroboam with the building of Millo. Millo was a fortress within Jerusalem. And so Jeroboam was a man who was industrious, maybe had some good carpentry skills, and he also was responsible as Solomon's servant. Read on. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. He was a mighty man of valor. In other words, he was a man of integrity. We're talking about Jeroboam. We're talking about somebody just off the street. He was a mighty man of valor. What else does it say? And Solomon, seeking the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. Solomon made Jeroboam a steward. He entrusted him with the building of Millo because he was industrious. He did his work. He was young. He had youth on his side. And the Bible says he had the charge over all the house of Solomon. But notice what else it says. And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem that the prophet Highest, the Sulamite, found in him the way. So here's Jeroboam. He's walking out one day. And as he's walking, Ahijah the prophet catches him. Catches him by his clothes. And what he does, he tells Jeroboam what God is about to do. Well, what is God about to do with Jeroboam? Read on. And he had tied himself with a new garment, and they two was alone in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was in him. I want you to know what God does. God is wisdom. Jeroboam got on some new clothes. And y'all know how we act when we got on new clothes. I'm talking about new clothes. Straight out the store, new clothes. When Ahijah catches Jeroboam, he catches him by his new garment. God don't care nothing about his new clothes. As a matter of fact, Ahijah takes his new garment and he cuts it in 12 pieces. Symbolizing what God is about to do. But what is God going to do? God is about to rend the kingdom from Solomon. He's going to give 10 tribes to Jeroboam and the other 2 to Rehoboam, Solomon's son. Read on. And he said to Jeroboam, take the 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of thy hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake. So now get the picture now. God is setting Jeroboam up. He's going to be a king regardless of what happens. God has already torn the king from Solomon, so the next person on the throne is Jeroboam. So by the time we read Jeroboam in 1 Kings chapter 12, the Bible says Jeroboam is already devising in his heart how to keep the people loyal to him. He don't have to do that. Reason being, God has already established him. Now in 1 Kings chapter 12, we didn't read verse number 28. Notice what Jeroboam does now. 1 Kings chapter 12. In order to keep the people in allegiance to him, 1 Kings 12:28, I want you to notice this phrase. So whereupon the king took counsel. The king took counsel. He listened to the advice of other people.
And you know what they told him to do? Jeroboam, this is what you do. To keep the people allegiant to you, to keep them relying on you, you go and make a religion of convenience for them. You go and put a golden calf in Dan, put another calf in Bethel, and then that way they don't have to go to Jerusalem at all. Keep reading there.
Wherefore the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Sometimes you got to be very careful about stuff that's too easy for you. Sometimes you got to be careful about money that comes too easy. Stuff that comes too easy that you have to work for and it's too convenient for them, sometimes you better double check that. And so he made it so easy for them, so convenient for them, they don't even have to go to Jerusalem to worship anymore. They just going to disregard everything Moses said in the book of Leviticus about going back to Jerusalem. Not only does he change that, what does he change next?
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he in Dan.
Wow. Know what else it says?
And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan.
You know what's so amazing about this? Where were all those wise men that stood around Solomon? You mean to tell me not anybody that stood and grew up with Solomon said, no, we can't do this. We can't worship this golden calf in Dan. We can't worship the golden calf in Bethel. As a matter of fact, we've already done that, and where did it get us? Back in Exodus chapter 32, when they came out of Egypt, they said unto Aaron, as far as Moses, we don't know what's happened to him. Make us God which shall go before us, saying, these are the gods which brought us out of Egypt. They've already done that. And where did it get them? Nowhere. And so here they go once again, telling Jeroboam, give us a golden calf, put one in Dan, put one in Bethel. We don't even got to go to Jerusalem. What else happens? He also made a house of high places and made priests of the lords of the people. He went and got some guys off the street and made them priests who were not of the sons of Levi. And then to top it all off, he changed the date in which they were supposed to go for the Feast of Tabernacles. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month. I want you to notice this next word. Like unto the feast that is in Judah. The feast that was in Judah was the feast that was on the 7th month. The 15th day, Leviticus 23:35. Where God told them that they were supposed to have the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days according to the word of the Lord. And so here the point is, Jeroboam does all these things, you know why? Because he listened to the wrong people. And yet and still, you think about this even more in depth. Why should he listen to the people when he's supposed to be the king? He's supposed to be the monarch. He is the one who's supposed to pass down judgments and rules and statutes to the people, but yet and still, he's listening to the people. So even when it comes down to sometimes in leadership sometimes, you can listen to the wrong people. What you think about some other people? What you notice there? Notice some other examples. Others who were faced with real life dilemmas. They were faced with some dilemmas. What are they going to do? What about Job? Look at Job chapter 2, verses 8 through 9. Y'all remember Job was faced with a real life dilemma? Job chapter 2. I want you to notice verse number 8 first. Job 2:8. What does Job do? Job takes a what?
And he took him a
posture
to scrape himself without. And he sat down among the ashes. Job
had this dreaded skin disease after he done lost everything. He has lost everything, all his oxen, his asses, his sheep, his camel, his children. He lost everything, and even his health. His health is failing. But there's a grand lesson in verse number 9 that I want us to see.
Oh, yeah.
His wife says, as she sees him in his deplorable condition, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what you go through in this life. You still have to be faithful to God. Amen. Yes. Job's wife, because she's lost everything too. Everything Job loses, she loses.
Right.
And so she says, are you still going to be faithful to God after losing everything?
Do you still keep your integrity? It don't matter what you're facing in life. Lose a job, lose a child, lose a spouse. I mean, the economy crash. You still got to be faithful to God. Yeah. She said, and she recognized that with Job. You still going to retain your integrity? What you need to do, Job, no, you need to curse God, blaspheme God, just go ahead and die. Last time I checked. That's the last thing you want to do.
Oh, no.
I mean, curse God, he ain't die.
Come on, preacher.
I mean, it'd be all right if he just said curse God.
But don't die.
But curse God, then go see God in eternity? No, you don't want to do that. And so she tells Job, this is what you need to do. Why? Because God has done us no good. He has taken everything away from us. He has spoiled our lives. He has made our lives miserable. You see, Job's wife didn't know what was going on. And in her misery and in her frustration, she takes it out on her husband.
Right.
That's why I know the Bible is right. Because sometimes wives can't deal with that kind of pressure. That's why the Bible calls them a weaker vessel. She can deal with it. You mean to tell me, when we had all of our children, everybody had their health, we had all these oxen, these animals, these sheep, these camels, we had all this money in the bank, we could be faithful to God. Now all of a sudden everything gone, now we ought to curse God to his face and then die? A lot of times you realize a lot of people not built for this. And so she tells Job, curse God and die. Why would Job do that? Look at Job 13-15. Notice now, Job is faced with a real life scenario. This coming from his wife. This not coming from a friend. This not coming from a co-worker.
Right.
This not coming from a neighbor. This coming from a woman that he sleep in the bed with. Curse God and die? Coming from his own wife? Job 13-15, you know what Job says?
Though he slay me.
Job says, though he being God, though he slay me, yet will I trust him, and I will maintain my own ways before him. Job says, I don't care what happens to me.
Right.
I don't care what I perceive God to be doing to me. I'm still going to trust him. You see, Job 13-15, Job said, though he slay me. Job didn't know it wasn't God doing it. He didn't know it was the devil doing it. But he said, regardless to the fact, I'm still going to trust God. You ought to have the unswerving conviction that regardless of what happens in your life, you still going to trust God. I don't care if I lose everything. I got to trust God. Because it's the same Job who says, the Lord give it. The Lord take it. Next came I into the world, next shall I return. Job had an unswerving conviction. Why? But it's coming from his wife. This is the same Job in Job 14, verse number 1, who says, man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth and is cut down like the flower of the grass and soon perishes away. Job says man has a short amount of time here on earth. All the wealth and riches of the world not promised to man, but what is promised to man in that short span of time is a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of heartache, a whole lot of disappointments. Job says he's still going to trust God. This is the same Job whose wife told him to curse God and then die. The same Job who retained his integrity. When you get to the latter part of the book, Job 42:12-13. The same Job who trusted God when he lost everything. You know that same God blessed Job with double at the latter end of his life? Look at Job 42, verse number 12. That's why you got to continue to trust God. Job 42:12. What does the Bible say?
So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning.
God blessed Job better at the end than he did at the beginning.
For he had 14,000 sheep.
He had 7,000 at the beginning.
And 6,000 camels.
Had 3,000 at the beginning.
And 1,000 yokes of oxen.
Had 500 at the beginning.
And 1,000 she-asses.
Had 500 at the beginning. God blessed Job with double. And then to top it all off, God gave Job some more children. What does he say in verse 13?
And he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters.
Not to mention the ones he had in paradise. You see how good God was to Job? So when his wife says, you still going to keep your integrity? You still going to retain your integrity? Curse God and die? Why would I do a thing like that?
As they used to say on TV, you so crazy. Crazy. To curse God and then die.
Lord have mercy.
If Job would have did that, more than likely, we would not have been reading about Job 42, 12, and 13. But Job was faced with a real life circumstance from his own wife. The pressure is real. Not only Job, what about Nehemiah? Look at Nehemiah chapter 6. When you read the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah got some enemies. Yeah. Nehemiah got some enemies who want to kill him. They want Nehemiah so bad, they even come to Nehemiah's job. You know, most folks, they'll try to catch you at home or coming from the store. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, they come to Nehemiah's job. His job working on the wall. In Nehemiah chapter 6, look what they say.
Now it came to pass, when Sanballat and Tobias and Geshem, the Amorite, the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had built the wall.
The rest of our enemies. Nehemiah had a whole lot of enemies. Let me tell you something. When you do what's right, and you live righteous, and you do good, and you treat people kind, and you got a religious conviction in God that's unmoving, you're going to have some enemies. You're going to have some people that dislike you. Nehemiah had a whole lot of enemies, but that did not deter Nehemiah. What does it say?
I had built the wall, and that there was no breach left therein.
Nehemiah said he built the wall. When you go back and look at Nehemiah chapter 2, that was the whole reason why he requested to go back to Jerusalem in the first place. Because he had heard in chapter 1 about the condition of Jerusalem, how that all the people were discouraged, how that the wall was torn down and the temple was torn down. And so Nehemiah took it upon himself, I got to go back and visit my brethren, and he went back to rebuild the wall. Now he got the wall up. Nehemiah chapter 6, verse number 2, how does that read?
Then Sanballat and Geshem sent unto me, saying, Come, let us meet together in some one of the villages of the plain of Ono.
So Sanballat and Tobiah said, Nehemiah, we know you got the wall built. We know you're doing something great for your country, for your people. But we need to meet, we need to talk. Why would he do a thing like that? They've already shown that they don't like him. They want to kill him. And they say, we need to go and meet in the valley of the plain of Ono. When you go back and look at a map of Jerusalem, ancient Jerusalem, Ono and Jerusalem are nowhere in close proximity to each other.
All right.
They don't know they were going to off Nehemiah.
Yeah.
You would have never read about Nehemiah anymore. Nehemiah would have came up missing. And so they want to go and talk to him. But guess what? Nehemiah, notice what he said. Notice his response.
But they thought to do him mischief.
You see, they thought to do him mischief. But what does he say?
And I sent message unto them, saying, I am done a great work.
Nehemiah was so smart. Did you catch what he did? He didn't even go and talk to him himself. He sent word by messengers. What did he say?
I am done